Good morning and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited for today. We are heading to Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom and Epcot are probably tied for my favorite resorts in the US, so I'm really excited to get back there. But even more so today, because I have a special tour booked. I booked the Caring for Giants tour, which gets you a little bit closer to the elephants. Elephants are my favorite animal. It actually took me a really long time to decide which animal was my favorite, but I've just always felt drawn to them. I've always loved Dumbo. My ears stick out, you may have noticed, and I've always been very self-conscious of them, so I just kind of feel like this kinship with Dumbo, which over time has made me fall in love with elephants, so I'm so excited for this experience. It's very reasonably priced as well. I can't remember the exact price, but I feel like it was maybe like $35, $40. They do offer discounts, at least for DVC. I'll put the price in here, probably over here, so you can see it, and it's about an hour long. I booked it for 9 a.m. It's just 8 now, so I think that's okay because I'm gonna actually get an Uber to the park. We're only 5 minutes from Animal Kingdom, but I do have to go back to Kilimanjaro Safaris, so it is quite a bit of a walk, so I need to get a move on. But I'm excited to take you guys along. I know I can't film a lot of it because we're gonna go backstage at some points as well, but the areas that I can film, I will, and then I'll give you like a review about the experience afterwards. But like I said, we have an appointment to make, so let's get going. You have to be 4 years or older to participate in this tour, and anyone under 18 must be accompanied by an adult. You also need a park ticket for Animal Kingdom or a park hopper, and if you're an annual pass holder, you will also need a park reservation. Non-transferable wheelchair guests can remain in their wheelchair throughout this experience. However, there is limited capacity, so be sure to call the number below to confirm your accommodations. If you're using a scooter, you will not be able to take this with you, but you will be given a courtesy wheelchair to use if needed. If that's the case, you'll want to do this tour with someone who can help you with the wheelchair, as there are some steep ramps to get to the viewing location.
Close to it, a little bit before, sometimes even. And typically, I would say young male elephants, when they get close to maturity, will leave their original family units. And then males are kind of interesting. You know something about elephants? What are elephant societies? How are they structured? Does anyone know? Maturity, they will eventually leave their families, go off on their own. And from there, a male elephant will either live a solitary life or a social life with other elephants. But typically, these are other male elephants. They live together in what are called bachelor herds. Asian elephants, in that both male and females have those tusks, whereas male Asian elephants always have the tusks, females typically don't have. Don't use them for eating. They use these big flat molars in their mouths for grinding up a lot of the vegetation that elephants like to eat. Though you can see they use their tusks for different purposes. They're a big social interaction tool. So you can see it looks like Zavo and Jabali, or sorry, not Zavo, or Jabali. Zavo and Mac over there are gonna start trunk wrestling. So we make sure the gate is shut just in case, you know, they don't want to actually share the same space, so they can interact, touch their trunks to others' faces, say hello, but they can back up if they want to. We like to let them decide, basically, how they choose their socialization. Typically when they get close to maturity is when a male will start to become a little more independent. They're gonna spend more time away from the herd and be spending a lot more alone time. That's when we like to think like, okay, it's probably getting close for him to go off on his own. Or sometimes the matriarch basically decides, okay, it's time for you to go. Oh, this is fun. So you could just see, is that Zavo? I think Zavo did a little submissive behavior. So when they do that sparring, and there they go again. So we do this little sparring, this little trunk wrestling. It's like a little bout. Typically, another elephant you can see he backed up a little bit. Zavo, in this little social dynamic, is below Mac. Mac is kind of in charge right now, so sometimes he will show his respect by showing Mac his rear end. So, there you go, kids. If you want to show a parent your respect and you communicate like an elephant, you just got to show them your rear side.
See how that goes.
You know, that's what I do to my parents.
Don't even think about it.
Oh, wow.
You can see this is Zavo and Jabali going at it now.
Just curious, will we also see the females?
We might.
We might, okay.
But it's hard to say.
Hard to say.
Since these guys are out in this yard, it would be definitely a distance view. We might spot them from the other yard past that gate over there. It's always based on their natural history, so food that they like, foods that they're able to have. It also is somewhat relevant to what they eat in the wild in some kind of capacity, or sometimes fun stuff we know they can eat. They may not necessarily experience in the wild, but something that's a fun, tasty snack. They have skin that grows very fast on the bottom of their feet, so we want to make sure that it's wearing down correctly. If they're getting a lot of overgrowth of skin, we can literally give them a pedicure, kind of shave down that foot, any calluses. Check their nails, Look out for cracks and stuff. Make sure those are nice and clean. There's some mud pits down there and lots of dirt over here for the elephants. So the keepers will dig big pits that'll collect with rainwater, which is like natural mud for the elephants too. We also provide things like clays out here that are easily spreadable. So the elephants will spray lots of mud on themselves, lots of clay, and throw it on themselves. And this works like a really great one-all solution. Generally, you're not going to see people walking around Disney parks with mud all over themselves because people are going to look at you kind of weird. That's why we have sunscreen and moisturizers and stuff that are pretty clear. But mud can actually act like 30 SPF. Fun fact, if you're ever backcountry hiking anywhere, I don't know, Yellowstone, you're in a pinch. Yeah, pretty cool. It's less weird if you have mud on you out in the wild. You're going to be like, wow, they're cool. We can also do stuff like when elephants are pregnant, ask them to come over for ultrasounds. Now, this is very complex because it's hard to tell if an elephant actually is pregnant. And even so, when we do ultrasounds, it's very hard to pick up a baby in the ultrasound because their skin is so thick. So a great way to actually check out elephant health, and also if they are pregnant, is looking at this. Anybody happen to know what this is? Take out. It's covered in shellac, so don't worry. It's not like literally a good time. And also, really quick, the trees provide a lot of privacy. So this is a habitat. Habitats need food, water, shelter, places to raise their young. So biggest things are shelter here. We want to provide areas where the animals can kind of break visual contact. Because an elephant is still a prey species, although a fully grown elephant doesn't have a lot of predators. They still need to have areas where they can kind of hide themselves for comfort.
We started our day off with the Caring for Giants tour. You know what? I cannot recommend that tour enough for a few reasons. One, like if you love elephants, this is the closest you're going to get to elephants at Animal Kingdom. Even having done the Wild Africa Trek twice, we never got this close to elephants. In fact, I think on the Africa Trek, you get as close to the elephants as you would if you just did the Kilimanjaro Safaris. So this brought you so much closer. Also, you get to go backstage, which I think is really cool. I don't think I've ever been backstage except for, I did go backstage a little bit with the Wild Africa Trek, but this was like backstage. And for me, that was just super cool to see because I'm a diehard Disney fan and I've never really gotten to see like behind the scenes of like, we saw behind the scenes of Tusker House, we saw the back area of the Lion King show, and I just thought that was really cool to see. Another reason why I think you should go do this tour is that it is only $39 per person plus tax, and if you're a DVC member, you get a discount. I think it came around like $35 for me. So as far as price goes, I think it's very reasonable, especially for like a backstage tour. It is only an hour, so it is on the shorter side, and but it goes so fast. I think they could have done 2 hours and it still wouldn't have been enough time. It was so amazing to go. Basically, if you've been on Kilimanjaro Safaris, you know where the elephants are. Instead of being in the trucks that go past them on the right, we went to the other side of that like little island area and saw them from the backstage area, and it puts them even closer to you. Like you'll see in this video footage and some of the photos that I took that they're so close. It was really, really amazing. We had all the males out when we went, so we got to see them kind of like spar and play fight, and that was really fun to see. We heard them crunching like big branches. We got to see them eat. We also learned a lot about the conservation efforts that Disney is doing to protect elephants, which I also find very fascinating, and it's one of the things that I love so much about Animal Kingdom. A lot of what they do goes towards conservation efforts. In fact, part of your ticket price goes towards conservation of elephants, so by purchasing this tour, you are doing your part to help out as well. I know I'm a huge Disney fan, and sometimes it might seem like I'm just singing their praises, but I'm telling you, this tour is so worth it. I still can't believe how cheap it was because, again, it is Disney, and Disney can be very, very expensive, especially for their add-ons. But I think this is one of their more reasonable tours that they do at Walt Disney World. And if you are an elephant fan, if you want to learn a little bit more about animal conservation, if you want to see a little bit of the backstage area, this tour is definitely for you. I stopped by the Dawa Bar to try the African margarita, but the bartender warned me that this is a very sweet cocktail and I don't love sweet cocktails. So he suggested that I mix the African margarita with the traditional margarita. It would make it a little bit more tart. That's what I did, and it is delicious. Highly recommend doing a mix of both if you don't like sweet cocktails.
Because they are so rarely seen, they'll use those white stripes that they have to camouflage within the bushes, grass, and trees of their food throughout the day. Now, it is pretty rare to see a black rhino because there's only about 5,000 of them left in the world. Rhinos don't really have any natural predators out there in the wild, but hippos can actually stay underwater for about 5 to 8 minutes before needing to come up again for air. Only about 80 pounds of food a day, and they do have a reputation of being an aggressive animal. Now that is not necessarily true. They are a very powerful animal. They have one of the strongest bites in Africa, but they are more territorial than anything, so they're just going to protect. They're very protective of their own spaces. Left to see. Also down there on our left-hand side is some Nile crocodiles. Nile crocodiles are the largest crocodilian in Africa. Their average length is going to be around 16 to 18 feet long, weighing at about 500 pounds. And those giraffes are pretty hard to miss. They are the tallest land mammal in the world. Sable antelopes just past that giraffe. Sable antelopes will use those horns that are pointed towards their back. That's going to help deter any predators away from them. Now the males during their mating season, how they impress the females, they'll actually create a flower crown in their horns, and it's just about the cutest thing you'll ever see. But I know I was throwing around the word prehensile about the okapi and the giraffe's tongue. We can also use that word to describe an elephant's trunk, because prehensile means finger-like. So elephants are going to grab things with their trunks throughout the day, such as their food, and they can eat around 300 pounds of food a day. Now, we can't see them yet, but we can hear that famous roar that you can hear from about 5 miles away. I'll let him speak.
I stopped by my favorite lounge in all of Walt Disney World. My favorite lounge for food in all of Walt Disney World, the Nomad Lounge. When I wanted to join it, it said that the wait list was full, but I just kind of kept hitting that wait list button over and over and over again, and I eventually got in. It was an hour wait, which was fine. I did some shopping around Animal Kingdom, I stopped for some photos, and then I just kind of rested a bit. And I had a really great meal in there. I got the tuna poke again. It is delicious, it is fresh, it's a little spicy, but nothing crazy. And I, of course, had to get the churros. That's what I was really there for. Hands down, guys, those are some of the best churros I've ever had, and they're gluten-free, which I think is amazing because it's really hard to find gluten-free churros, if not impossible. And not only are they good gluten-free churros, they're better than some of the non-gluten-free ones. So definitely give those a try. They have like a seasonal dip. Right now it was the Mexican chocolate. The vanilla bean one is always there. It was well worth waiting an hour for, in my opinion. I had the Night Monkey again, which I really liked last time, and I really liked it again this time. But my favorite was definitely the Tempting Tigress. It's kind of like a twist on an old fashioned, and the flavors in it were just really unique and interesting, but it was perfectly, like, the flavors blended perfectly, and it might be my new favorite drink in Animal Kingdom. I'm gonna have it again later this week, hopefully, and I'll let you know if that still holds true. If you like old fashions, I recommend the Tempting Tigress.
Decon? Check.
Their science team, which is part of the Pandora Conservation Initiative, and we're here in the Valley of Moara studying banshees and their environment. Over a generation ago, this enormous company called the RDA created a lot of damage to the area through their bad mining practices and conflicts with the Na'vi. Just like on Earth, it can take decades for ecosystems to recover. One way to understand what's going on with an ecosystem is to study what are called keystone species. These are animals like tigers, jaguars, seals. The banshee is one of these important animals. Dr. Ogden is the foremost expert on studying the Ikran and has spent years researching them. Unfortunately, banshees live high in rookeries and humans can't get anywhere near them without becoming their lunch. But the Na'vi and avatars can. Help us out and move around a bit. Almost. Yes, got him. Now, let's find you your avatar matches.
I had a really great half day at Animal Kingdom. I didn't put too much pressure on myself to do a lot because I plan on going back there for more of a full day later on my trip. Plus, I really wanted to go see my friend from New Jersey who's also out here this week as well, and I didn't want to miss out on that. But I started my day with the Caring for Giants. I went on Kilimanjaro Safaris and they were so nice. They saw that I had my camera, so they let me sit at the back of the truck and I was able to get like really great views of everything. And back of the truck is the way to go. It's really cool that like when you drive past the viewing locations, you can turn around and keep viewing them a little bit longer. So I really appreciated that. I stopped by the Dawa Bar, I grabbed a drink, I went on Flight of Passage. It's only my second time going on that ride, and I kind of got the same feeling I did the first time. You know, it starts off and you're like, yeah, this is pretty cool. And then there's just a couple scenes and I felt it. I was like, oh, this is so incredible. This experience is incredible. My only complaint is that those screens need to be updated so badly. They feel like very dated. They're nothing like the more modern technology. I'm not even sure 3D is needed with today's technology. Like if you think about Rise of the Resistance, I think those screens are incredible, very lifelike at certain points during the ride, and I think they could do something more like that with Flight of Passage, which might also make it easier for a lot of people to ride. I noticed that there were scenes where the screens were just blurry, completely blurry, no matter what I did, and then there were scenes where it was a little bit clearer, but overall the quality of the screen does feel very dated. I still love the ride though. I think the experience is really cool. The music with like the scenery and then the fact that you can kind of like feel the banshee breathing underneath you. It's such an immersive experience that you really forget that you are at Walt Disney World, that you forget that you're on like a ride vehicle, and you kind of for a second believe you're riding a banshee. So hopefully a screen update is coming in the future for this ride. Then we went on the Na'vi River journey. I think this is such a beautiful ride. I really love going through it, but it still feels like a bit of a letdown for me, especially with all the hype built up around it and how long the waits can sometimes be. Like, it is gorgeous. Like, don't get me wrong, the animatronic on it might be one of the best animatronics there is, but as far as thrills go, there are none. I also feel like it just feels kind of flat to me. Other than the animatronic, it feels like the whole ride you're waiting for something to happen and it never does. And it's also pretty short. So unless it's like an absolute must do for you, just bear in mind that waiting like an hour plus might not be worth it to you in the end. But one of the nice things about this ride is that anyone can ride it. Unlike Flight of Passage. Flight of Passage, if you have any back or neck issues, or you're pregnant, or you get dizzy, or you suffer from migraines or seizures or whatever, you probably can't ride Flight of Passage. You will probably be able to ride the Na'vi River journey. To cap my night off, I met up with my friend in Disney Springs and we went to dinner at Homecomin. It is just as good, if not better, than I remember it being. I really wanted to go back just for the hummingbird cake, and honestly I should just order the hummingbird cake because I'm so stuffed and I only had 1 or 2 bites of the cake. I had to bring it all back with me. Both my friend and Rex are really picky eaters and they both loved the chicken and waffles. And I know like with Rex, it's something that he wouldn't normally order, and he was really glad he did, and I think my friend Julie felt the same way. She said the donuts were really fresh and delicious, and that the fried chicken was really good, the mashed potatoes were good. So they both highly recommend that dish, and I highly recommend those cauliflower like wings or bites or whatever they're called. The honey hot sauce is delicious. The dipping sauce is really good. They're cooked perfectly. Sometimes cauliflower wings like that can be undercooked in the center and they're a little tough. I did not find that with these at all. And then I also decided to get the mahi mahi. I was hoping that it would be a lighter, healthier dish because most of the things on the menu are definitely on the heavier side. They have a few salads, but in my mind I was like, oh, if I get the fish and it's not a bed of veggies, it'll be like nice and light and refreshing. It comes with like a cream sauce, which is, the sauce was really good and the flavors were all great, but I do wish that it was a healthier option instead of being like a cream-based dish. I left feeling very sluggish and full, and you know what, I'm not knocking it because like I said, it was really good. I just think that the one thing that is lacking for Homecomin is, it sounds ridiculous, right? It's a Southern comfort restaurant and I'm like, it needs healthier options. But I just think it needs like at least 1 or 2 lighter dishes. So if someone's, you know, because big parties go out to dinner together at Disney World, and it'd be nice if there was like a little bit more for everyone there. But overall, the mahi mahi was cooked really well. It kind of very flaky, fell apart like with a fork. I didn't need a knife to cook it at all. The veggies were good. The sauce was good. I would prefer that it didn't have a cream sauce. That just made it a little too heavy for a mahi mahi in my liking. But I'm glad I ordered it and that I tried it. But really, we all know I was there for the hummingbird cake, and it did not disappoint. I can't even talk now. I've eaten so much. But the hummingbird cake was delicious. I love the icing. I love like the chunks of banana in it. And it is one of my absolute favorite desserts in all of Walt Disney World. It was worth me stopping at Homecomin for. I highly recommend it if you like banana, cream cheese, and cakes and all that. I also decided to try the moonshine flight this time. I liked most of them. The blue one was a little weird for me. Like, that was my first reaction. I kind of like sipped them each. I got to the blue one and I was like, whoa, that's weird. And I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, though. It was probably my least favorite of the 5 that I tried. I don't know if it's the curacao in it or something else, but the flavors are just off for me on that one, so I don't recommend that one. I'll drop in the name of the one I'm talking about there, because right now all I remember is that's the blue one, and I did not love it. I also want to say that the service there was really great as well. The waitress we had was amazing. She stopped by to check in on us regularly, but never bothered us. I hate saying bothered us because that makes me feel pretty bad. I don't like thinking that, I don't want someone feeling like they're bothering us. But you know, sometimes you go to a restaurant and they check in like every 5 minutes and you're just like, all right, that's too much. I didn't feel that at all, but she checked in just enough. The manager also came by and just kind of went over our allergies with us. That always makes me feel a lot better. You know, just, I'm pretty comfortable picking out what I can and can't eat at Disney World. But when the head chef or the manager can come by and say like, yeah, that is absolutely safe for you, or I will talk to the kitchen and we'll make sure it's safe, that just gives you peace of mind. So I really appreciated that. They went over all the things that we couldn't have, and then kind of like reconfirmed the things that we ordered were safe for us. So that was wonderful as well. This is my second time at Homecomin. Service was perfect both times. I highly, highly recommend this restaurant. It is one of my favorite restaurants in all of Walt Disney World. I think it has pretty much something for everybody. I don't eat chicken, but everyone I know that has had the fried chicken said it's some of the best fried chicken they've ever had. So if that's what you're looking for, if you're looking for Southern comfort, Homecomin is the place for you. I have like more that I want to go over with Coronado Springs Resort. I have not loved my stay here for a few reasons, which I just feel like needs its own video, and I don't want to go through it tonight. But yeah, my second time at Coronado Springs, and unfortunately I will not be staying here again. I think the rooms are pretty. I love the food options here. The resort is pretty. Each time I've stayed here, I've had so many headaches that it makes it not an enjoyable experience for me, and I'm not usually one to complain about hotels, but I have a few complaints. So I'll do that in another video. I'm really looking forward to switching over to the Grand Floridian tomorrow. So with that said, I need to finish packing tonight and get some good sleep because I have a long day. I have a long few days ahead of me that I'm really looking forward to. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd love for you to hit the subscribe button so you can come along on the next adventure. And as always, magic is out there, friends.